Members of the media, we are here in Mbale City, and I want to wish all of you good reporting and a Merry Christmas as we go to 2026. My name is Mbale Aporu Christine Helen. I am a member of the Uganda Land Commission, and I'm here together with the
Ronnie Bahongule, a senior land officer with the Uganda Land Commission.
We are going to talk to you about the Uganda Land Commission mandate and what we have come to do here in Mbale City. I would like to start by saying that Uganda Land Commission is a constitutional body that is mandated to hold and manage all land, which land is vested in or acquired by the government of Uganda. Uganda Land Commission protects the government land. It administers the leases that are given under Uganda Land Commission, and it manages the land fund. Today, we are here in Mbale City to create a comprehensive, enabled inventory of all government land to ensure that there is accurate documentation, and we also want to prevent encroachers on government land, because during the meeting we heard about encroachment. So we are just beginning the process, and the Uganda Land Commission is going to digitize all government land. All the records that we are going to receive from the city, and as we are doing it here in Mbale, as we interface with the officials, the similar exercise is supposed to run in 16 cities and municipalities of our country. This inventory of government land is going to help us to prevent encroachment. It is going to help us on illegal occupation of land and loss of government land. And the leases must be updated according to the file records and the clear ground rent areas that is going to be purchased. We shall all get this in the various records of the Mbale City. In Uganda Land Commission, we always say our land, our wealth, our heritage, because we know that the way we get our land in Uganda, it is either by a community, it is by a family, and we say our land, our wealth, because we carry out agriculture. Agriculture is the mainstay of the country, and every family needs land in order to get their wealth. And when we hear about the minerals, the mineral resource, we get it from our land, and then our heritage. That is why among the people we have invited are people who work here in the municipality, and they represent the city land board and the district land board. So while we are here, we must also know that one of the gains that we are going to protect is this one, our government land inventory. It is very, very important that we are moving from the archaic methods of those files that we have been accumulating in our shelves, but now we want to have it digitized. And just by a click of button, you are able to look at the land inventory. We started with the municipalities because the municipalities are very challenging. You know, now people are moving into town. There is a very big challenge in Mbale, and you know, when you are here, you have all types of people. Businessmen are here, people who are working are here, people from Teso, Lango, Karamoja, but we want to specifically to know that this municipality or this city of Mbale, how are they handling the issues of the land? And we shall be working in collaboration with the survey team from Entebbe that will come here.
Honorable, for the great insights and stressing the fact that we are here to protect the gains, and one of the fundamental gains that we are looking at protecting as the government of Uganda is the land resource, the government land resource. And to do this, the Uganda Land Commission is starting on the process of creating a comprehensive land inventory. So what are we going to do? We've already written to 16 cities and municipalities across the entire country. These are our pilot projects, but later on, this project will be scaled up to cover the entire country for us to effectively manage and protect government land, but also use it effectively. So what are we going to do? Most of the MDAs that would be having land in the 16 areas, but specific here from Mbale, have written to us. They've submitted to us lists of government land that the different ministries, departments and agencies have in Mbale. We also expect Mbale City Council to submit to us the list of government land within their jurisdiction that could be under their use, but also any other government land that is within Mbale City. So going forward, our survey teams from Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, specifically from the Department of Surveys and Mapping, but also a team from the Chief Government Valuers Office and sociologists will be on ground to make sure that they work with the stakeholders here. By stakeholders, I mean the City Council, Mbale, the technical staff that are here, the cultural leaders and opinion leaders that are in Mbale, for you and us to work together in taking stock of all government land that is existing in Mbale City. So the key inputs that we expect from the stakeholders will be to help us, one, identify government land. We believe that people in Mbale, especially the stakeholders, the opinion leaders, have history of all government land in here. So we want them to tell us where is government land. Maybe this land has previously been government land. Maybe it was occupied by a government school or a government barracks. Then from there, we'll start from there. We're coming with the historical maps from Entebbe. All the historical government land records will be brought here. Then we'll discuss these with the stakeholders to show you that, okay, from the records we have, this was government land, maybe in the 1960s or 1950s. Then the opinion leaders here can point to us and prove that this, yes, was government land. We'll move with the stakeholders to the land, identify them. From there, we'll be able to do surveys or boundary opening for all government land that is within Mbale City. If there are titles, we'll want to know who is registered on the title. And if there's government land in here and it is not registered, the teams will go ahead to survey, open the boundaries, and make sure that they possess land titles for all these government parcels. The purpose of this is to, at the end of the day, take stock of all government land, such that we have good record keeping. We realize that government land records have been scattered in different MDAs. Every agency keeps its own land records. Ministry of Health has been having its own records. Education has its own records. The city here has its own independent records. But now going forward, we want to have a comprehensive inventory where if a decision has to be made, there is one stock where one can go and check and be able to tell that, okay, this is government land. and be able to aid decision making. So going forward, we are moving away from the archaic methods of keeping land records to a more comprehensive and digitized system that will help enable transparency, accountability, effective management, but also help us to avoid or prevent encroachment and illegal occupation of government land. So we call upon the stakeholders in Mbale City, but also the other cities and municipalities where our teams are going to be, to support our teams in identification, in verification of the land records, and bringing out any information that you could be having of the history of government land in these areas. We do have the information, but we need your input for you to verify this, to identify it, and confirm to the people that could have maybe encroached on government land that it's true that this was government land, such that moving forward we are able to protect it. Many people, they've cited cases of people settling on railway reserves and road reserves. Some of these were acquired in the early 50s or 60s. We're bringing the maps and working with you to identify where is the buffer or the reserve of the railway or the road. And if it is there, are there any encroachments in there? Are there any freehold titles that were erroneously given in these reserves? And we should be able then to decide on what to do with these. The essence of this entire exercise is majorly to protect the public good. Most of these properties are meant to benefit the entire public, but not an individual. Talk of a road, talk of a railway line corridor or a public open space. If it is there, it should be for the entire public good. Having an individual title encroach on property that should benefit the public is really not in the good of the public. So we should be able to moving forward, have some of these cancelled or ratified, to see to it that going forward the public interest is protected against private individuals who would have fraudulently gotten or taken advantage of our systems. But also we need to strike a balance between the private and public interest in doing all this. That's why we also have the private domain of government land. That is land that we lease out to individuals, and where government from time to time collects ground rent and premiums to a tune of huge money. This is the money later on that we use to offer services to the people of Uganda. So we urge all lessees on government land, if you know you have a lease from Uganda Land Commission, or you have a lease from Mbale City, you've not been paying ground rent for all maybe the past 30 years or 40 years that you've gotten this lease. You have this window now. Come out, update your records, update all your lease records, but also you need to clear all your ground rent areas and be in good books, because if you don't do that, you've breached contractual obligations, and going forward, failure to pay ground rent can be a ground under which the Uganda Land Commission can seek re-entry of the lease and give it to another person, because part of protecting the public interest is using this lease that we have awarded to someone to collect ground rent, let's say to a tune of about 100 million, and be able to put it in the consolidated fund. Then government can use this to put medicine in the hospitals. So if you don't do that, that means you've benefited from government land and at the expense of the entire public. So we are coming out to rally the masses that have leases on government land to come, update your records, come, pay all your ground rent, such that government can have enough money to construct enough roads in Mbale, supply enough electricity, and offer medicine in our hospitals. Of government land, if you may define it, government land can include protected reserves for the good of the public. That might include wetlands, rivers, lakes, forest reserves, and game parks. From time to time, these should have buffer zones around them. But some of our individuals have taken advantage. They've decided to go and grow rice, build houses in the buffers of the wetlands or rivers. As our team is coming on ground, they're going to work with the city physical planning committee and environment committees at the cities to see to it that these buffer zones of wetlands and rivers are demarcated and protected. So the teams will be here and work together with the surveyors of the city. They work together with the stakeholders in here to clearly show the wananchi that this within this city, this wetland should be having a buffer zone of 30 meters. It should be ending here. They'll put boundary markers, and we expect that then the city will start engaging the people that have developments within the buffer zones of the wetland, a river, to relocate or remove their developments, and so that the wetland should be used really for the good, for the public interest. Like I said, the basis of all this is to have the public interest above your individual interest, and as a developer in there. If you encroach on a wetland, you've destroyed the ecological system, you've maybe caused the bad side effects of climate change. That is at the expense of the public. But if you are able to restore and protect such for the good of the public, then that means we are promoting public interest. So the essence of all this is not to disadvantage you, the individual, but is to ensure that at the end of the day, the public is benefiting from this commodity that maybe you've taken advantage of and you're using only for your. From today, this is to launch the exercise. Our teams are across the entire country, the 16 cities and municipalities. Our survey teams will be on ground effective next week to kickstart on some of these activities. The basis of it is documentary review. They're working with the stakeholders. We first come here, show you the maps, tell you that this is a wetland, this is a forest reserve, this is the buffer. Then from there we move to the ground to verify and take stock of where is it passing, who is encroaching on government land, is it protected, or who is currently using it.
We have not come here to evict people. We are not coming to evict. The inventory is for specifically documentation and protection of government land. And if we protect that land, it is for the good of the nation. The other thing is, we cannot, as the ULC, just come and take stock of what is here, of the properties that are protected. What follows? What follows is for the generations to come, so that they will know that the city now, this is the land that belongs to the city. And like they said, the land that belongs to local governments of Mbale district, we shall also help the city and the local government to know who takes what. So when we get to the common person through media, through meetings, through stakeholder engagements, we have to explain to them well in detail what the exercise is all about. The community sometimes resists because you just wake up in the morning and you go and say that, no, you don't have a land title, get away. We have, first of all, to have a stakeholders engagement with the community. We explain to them so that we harmoniously settle the matter. Ronnie.
Yes, thank you so much, Commissioner, for these good insights. Just to re-emphasize that, we acknowledge the fact that communities might resist projects where they do not have information to. That's why the approach to this is participatory. We want the community to embrace this as their own. We, as government, Uganda Land Commission, we hold and manage this land on behalf of the citizens. So it's not land for Uganda Land Commission. It is land for the people of Uganda, and they have a right to benefit from it. For instance, if it is a lease, you have a lease from government, and you're not paying ground rent, you're disadvantaging my mother in Mbale, who is not finding medicine in a health facility. So we're going to come for that case, and that's why we are saying update your records and pay ground rent. So if we come and take stock and note that you've not paid ground rent for the past 40 years, really the public might judge you. Let's put it to the public court. That the people, you're disadvantaging the people. But if you paid your money, if you pay your ground rent, that means government is going to be able to use this money to facilitate, put medicine in a hospital, build a road. So we want the people to embrace this as something we are doing for the good of the general public. One of the people earlier was saying this land the grandfathers gave for the community, circumcision, circumcision site. If now it has been given to an individual, but the individual who has even taken it has never paid ground rent since 1970. The community really would stand with government to see to it that this land is reclaimed, put back to the government stock. Then it can either be used for the good of the community or given to someone, if they agree, given to someone who can pay ground rent such that the person, if they go to hospital now for safe male circumcision, they find a nurse there and find enough medicine there. So we are going to do more stakeholder engagements, not only at this level, but also up to the grassroots where the property is. Sensitize the people. They need to understand that this was government land, this was the purpose of this government land. We want to keep it and we want to use it for ABCD. The inventory will be a publicly accessible thing. Anyone in Mbale will be able to come to our inventory by a click of it and be able to see to it that, okay, we have, the lady here was telling us they have 85 properties that they only know about. But there is more government land in Mbale. Going forward, if you have an inventory, you're going to be able to see. We have maybe 300 government properties. This is used for ABCD. Then we make it to help us make evidence-based decision making. If land is there and is idle, they talked of two commercial buildings on the road across us. That could be lying idle. Who is utilizing these buildings? Are they paying rent? If you have a good inventory, then it can inform decision making. The council can sit based on that and be able to explain to the public that based on the inventory and what we know, the user, the use, the size, we are able to use this land for this purpose based on that. You asked of a question of we are taking stock of government land and then what? The issue is to have transparency, accountability, effective use, management, eliminate encroachment, illegal occupation of government land, and also have a basis for evidence-based decision making. You've alluded to the fact that some individual awarded themselves a plot of land that was belonging to the public. That is not in the public interest. But if we have this stock, then we can be able to know that going forward, such cases will be eliminated, because the public will judge you that this property here, even 20 years from now, want to leave records where you can come and say there was an inventory created 20 years ago and this was recorded as government land. So if you gave it to yourself, what procedure did you go through? Did you purchase it from government? Is it that because you were a secretary land board, you decided to give yourself the property? So really, transparency, accountability, effective use, avoidance of encroachment and illegal occupation of government land is what we are looking for. That's why when we're doing this, we are looking forward to knowing where is the government land in Mbale, how big is it, who is occupying it, what was the planned use, is the person occupying it paying ground rent, is it titled or not? When we have all this information, then will be easy, will ease decision making, either for Mbale City itself, but also for the central government, for maybe land that is belonging to Ministry of Health or Ministry of Gender and so on. The purpose of this is to aid evidence-based decision making. If it comes to land that is meant to be protected, forest reserves, wetlands, rivers and the rest, and you are illegally there. You are illegally there. I don't want to call it evictions, but government will based on what we are going to do to tell them that these people are in a government in a buffer of a wetland, in a buffer or in a forest reserve. After doing this, we'll share this exact information with the city, with NEMA, for them to take a decision based on evidence that these people are within a wetland. Some people occupy wetlands or reserves without even knowing that I'm within a reserve. So what we are going to do now is let's demarcate the buffer, let's demarcate government land. So if you find it yourself inside, first we're going to give the information to the responsible agencies for them to take action. But the core purpose of all this is really not to evict anyone. But if you're in a wrong place, after this, there should be a decision that is taken by rightful authority for the good of the general public. Why we want to work with the stakeholders. That's why we invited several stakeholders from opinion leaders, the city land board, the fiscal planning committee, the cultural leaders, office of the RDC and mayor, but also the media and the general public where we are going. Part of the message that we are conveying out there is to rally the public to report illegal evictions, to report, illegal occupation on government land or encroachment. So if we put the message there and we find to it that people in Lumasaba are saying that a person X gave himself a property, that is reporting, and with that we should be able, really, our teams will look into that, see the procedure under which this person occupied this land. Like I said, at the end of the day, when we report that you occupy government land illegally, you're doing it at the expense of the public, and the public needs to benefit for all the time that you've occupied this property. It's something they call mess profits in the law. If you occupy government property for all this time and you've not been paying rent, or you are not legally given, it wasn't legally given to you, you should be able to pay us for rent, maybe for the period that you've been into such cases. So we urge the public to report all cases of such where people have illegally occupied government properties, such that collectively we can make decisions that will protect government land for the good of the general public and not for just individuals who want to say they worked for the government at one time.